Since the start of the year, though, at least 15 states have seen cases of the measles, equal to 60% of all cases from last year. Now, Florida has seen the latest outbreak with 9 cases so far. So it's not just the spread of violent crime across the country caused by the open border, it's the potential spread of contagious diseases.
Oh, thank God. Okay, it's the migrants that are leading to measles outbreaks of other disease. Because I was worried for a second as I was seeing that map, and it was Laura Ingraham was talking about it, how this disease that there is a vaccine for is suddenly spiking after years of advocacy against vaccines. I was worrying that there might be a causal link between those things, but thank God it's not that, because you can trust Laura. It's the migrants that are doing it.
Before we continue with the story, we depend on members to keep on going. Don't wait. Click join now on YouTube.
So everybody continue not vaccinating your kids and just demonize the nearest Spanish-speaking person you can find and you'll be fine. I mean, your kids won't. They still won't be vaccinated and they can still get disease and spread it and potentially suffer lifelong health consequences, or hell, maybe die from these things, but you'll feel better about it. And she wasn't the only one pushing this migrants lead to disease talking point. Take a look at this.
Is there a connection between the number of migrants who are coming into the country, not being health screened, and the takeoff of some of these things like plague?
There will be with plague. There are already with other things like tuberculosis, like syphilis, like flu.
If you continue to understand what is happening inside these holding areas where these families are being kept, they're being overwhelmed now, and you got to wonder from a health perspective how soon it's going to be until we hear about a catastrophe and what they might be bringing across the border anyway, because they're not inoculated like we are.
We've got people being released at the border right now who've got COVID. Wait a minute, I listen to you. You listen to me. They've got COVID. They've got all kinds of diseases. They are being released into the United States.
They've got whooping cough, and they've got the measles and the flu, and they've got rhinitis, chronic severe rhinitis. Okay, calm down, Janine. Okay, calm down. Let's set aside how explicitly racist a campaign of fear-mongering against migrants because they're dirty and carry disease is. Let's pretend that that's true, okay? Let's even pretend for a moment that they are bringing in diseases. They're bringing in all of these things, okay? If that's true, shouldn't people start to take the vaccines? Like, I know this is a pointless thing to bring up because for the last like almost 4 years now, the right has been like, the Chinese are sending COVID. It's a bioweapon. It's coming out of their labs. It's intended to kill us, and you should not get vaccinated against it. I don't understand the way they're thinking. All of these things, apparently dirty foreigners are bringing this in, and you should just offer up your unvaccinated, pure-blooded, lily white babies to them to get sick and die. That's a weird way to parent, but go off, Fox News. Sharon, what do you think?
There you go, trying to make sense again. It's just a fun argument. It doesn't have to lead to any real solutions or even common sense. It really doesn't. The only thing that's spreading is bigotry and hatred aimed at those people. And if you don't want people putting your family at risk, Judge Janine, maybe don't keep them in conditions that are not conducive to health and goodness and mental health and families staying together and having a better life, if you will. It's when they say the quiet part out loud all the time that it starts to like dumb down all of us. It's just unbelievable. They actually have friends. This is what they talk about at parties.
Yeah. Anyway, look, if people, maybe you've just started joining, like following American politics, so buckle up, by the way. If you think that we're being unfair in linking these two issues, I want to remind you of a small sampling of the anti-vaccine talking points from the right.
Big Medicine, led by Tony Fauci, was also using its brand and its pedigree to terrify Americans into getting successive COVID shots, none of which were adequately tested for safety.
These vaccines are honestly, they're the antichrist of all products.
This week, the CDC's Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices is expected to add the COVID-19 vax to the list of required childhood vaccines. If this happens, your children will not be able to attend school without taking the COVID shot. Now, the problem is there's no medical basis for this decision whatsoever.
So you believe that the COVID vaccine is not necessary?
I think it's downright dangerous.
You need to find some safe middle ground where people know that the vaccine is safe for you, but you don't. Oh, well, what do you mean? You're fine. You're vaccinated. What do you? Oh, it's your turn.
It's your segment.
Oh, sorry. Was I not supposed to point out that all of you are spending years demonizing vaccines and every single one of you are vaccinated, that you're utterly lying to your audience, that you don't care that while you are defended, they will not be, and some of them will get sick and die? Is that not a part of the grift that we're doing here? Sorry. Anyway, as always, she remains the only person that makes the shows watchable, even for a few seconds. So look, if we combine all of these things, Sharon, here is, I think, an indisputable fact. The right is saying that the border is a crisis, but we should not secure it, okay? It's an invasion, and we should not stop the invasion. We should kill the border bill. And the people that are invading are bringing disease, but you should not be protected from it, okay? They're bringing all of these things, and your kids should get it. So when you look at all of this, it sure seems like the right wants you and your family and your kids to get sick from foreign illnesses. And I get why they're selling fear. I understand it. It's the one commodity they can reliably produce. What I just will never understand is why, once you're worked into this frenzy, you can just be pointed in literally any direction. It doesn't have to make any sense. It doesn't have any connection with what you are actually worked up about. And you don't seem to want the thing you're afraid of to be stopped. It's an invasion, but let him in. It's a disease, but don't protect me from it. I don't understand how these people are so worried about the threats they're facing and so utterly disinterested in the threats being stopped. Any final thoughts, Sharon?
It's an affliction, and once you are indoctrinated in this way, there's nothing you can do to dig your own way out of it. You almost have to be abducted. I'm not advocating for that, and put somewhere and be worked on, probably for about 72 hours, just to see if you're going to make it through the program. Even as bodies drop around you, they're just not going to come back to the light. They're not going to seek the light.
I don't.
This is the way it is.